Hello everyone, I'm Tyrell Chambers. Thanks for tuning in to the Chambers channel. If you don't mind delicately tapping that like button, smashing the subscribe button, and tapping notifications so you could get some more of this content. First time I heard about compound interest. I actually read a quote. It said something like compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. So when I heard that quote, I had to look up what compound interest really was. As I did my research, I was like, wow, why don't anyone know about compound interest? It being the eighth wonder of the world, because if you think about like pyramids, like you always think about like how are they built, but compound interest being something like that, it's like, why would anyone say that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world? So that's when I first heard about compound interest. So I started doing a lot of research on it, and to my surprise, like everyone needs to know what compound interest is. Like that's actually where real wealth is created. And if you've never heard of compound interest, some of the great attributes of it is like the fact that it's a money multiplier. It literally multiplies your money tenfold, fivefold through a long period of time. So your money can literally multiply with time. And most people in my neighborhood don't know anything about compound interest because one, it's not something that you're taught. It's something that just happens to your money because of the products and how money is evolved over time. So it's not something that they're just gonna teach you about. It's just something that happens to your money. So I think a lot, especially in my community, we're very short-term focused. So we don't really grasp what happens to our money long term. We only really focus on short term. So that's why a lot of people in my community don't know about compound interest. If more people in my community knew about compound interest, I think they would embrace it. However, I think they would be a little bit scared too because they aren't aware of how much wealth they could acquire. And when you're handed a lot of wealth, oftentimes you don't really know what to do with it. So I think it's a scary thing to see, but it's the most important thing to know about and the most important thing for your finances. One of the most important principles to understand is compound interest if you're beginning to invest. Compound interest is the foundation of building wealth, so it's crucial that you understand how it works. This will help you put your own strategy together in your process of building wealth. So here's the good news. I got you covered. And I'm going to tell you all about compound interest, so let's get started. So compound interest is like a snowball for your money. It can start off small, but it can get really big if you spend a lot of time and energy on it. Here's how it works. Let's just say if you put $100 this year and you made 10% on your investment. You now have a value of $110. So that means next year if you made 10%, it would be of that $110 and not the original $100 investment. So that means in the following year, you would now have $121. And if you did this for 40 years, you would now have $5,369. And that's all from just putting $100 in. And also, that's without having to add any additional money to your investment. So now let's talk about this more practically. I think you're gonna like this one. Let's say you invested $10,000 in your 401k every year and your employer matched you with $2,000. And let's also say you work from the age of 20 to the age of 60. So that's $12,000 contributed every year for the next 40 years. And let's also say you average that same 10% every year. And with this math, by age 60, you would have approximately, wait for it, $6,968,487. This is why compound interest is so important, because the latter years of this approach is where you'll be making the most money. So let's go back to the math we just did. In year 22 of this approach, your 10% will be coming out of $1 million instead of 12,000. And 10% of $1 million is a whole lot more money. And by year 30, your 10% will be coming out of $2.5 million. I really hope you guys are understanding the principle of compound interest. Because if you start investing as early as possible and use time to your advantage, you have the possibility of creating real generational wealth. Invest early and invest often. You can even invest on behalf of your children and get them into the compound interest game as early as possible. I hope this video was informative and helps you understand the principle of compound interest so you can start building generational wealth for you. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and please, if you don't mind smashing the like button, because come on, you made it this far, subscribe to my channel and turn on your post notifications so you can get more of this content.